Welcome back. For this week's fly, we're going to go with Delekta's Double Screamer. This is a streamer pattern that is, on a bright day, one of the go-tos, you know, along with the Barely, the necklace. Bright days, you know, maybe some off-colored water, whatever it may be, this Double Screamer is a go-to. It really is. You can tie this in so many different colors, whatever color combination that you really choose. I mean, it's really up to you. But we're gonna go with the most common. It's the black, silver, and olive. So we're gonna go ahead and get right into this. And before I do, let's go ahead and get zoomed in so you don't have to look at my goofy mug the whole time. There we go. So we're gonna get our thread started. Bring this right back to the barb of the hook, right to where it starts to ascent. Cut your thread off right there. And then we're gonna go with 2 black Plumes of Marabou here. We're gonna try and find something, you know, I mean, a typical good tail. Nothing real wispy, everything nice and straight, no real big webs in the feather. This one's a little webbier than what I would like it, but I think it'll pass. We'll put this one on the bottom. And we'll go ahead and measure this out. Length of the hook slightly longer, if anything. And there we go. Like I said, a little bit webbier than what I would like it, but we're gonna go ahead and go with it. I think it's gonna be fine. So go ahead and take that all the way up to the front, and then just build your bulk in. Get the cradle out of the way. Then go ahead and get a second one. We're gonna double up this tail. Measure this out with your first plume. And same thing, leave off right where you did with the last one, but we'll bring this one on my side. The back hook on this one's a Daiichi 2461-4. And the front's going to be a 2. I think when he did this one originally, it was with a down-eyed hook, not the ring eye like the 2461. But as long as you're in the 3X realm, you're fine. Just use a 3X long streamer hook. Should be good to go. Next up for this one, we're going to take some Strung saddle. And we're going to find a couple here. We're going to try and match these up as best we can. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. Before we do that, we're going to take some silver Flashabou. And what do I got here? 3 strands of it. We'll go ahead with that. We'll go with 3 strands. I'm going to cut that in half. Save the rest of that for later in fly. And we're going to take these 3 strands and we're going to go probably 1 1/4 times the length of the tail and get these tied in. 3 on my side, 3 on the camera side. And it's pretty close. Just trim those off to where they're even on both sides. Now we're going to go with the saddle, and this is just regular dyed black saddle. And we'll take 2 of these, pair these up pretty well. We're going to go Get these two paired out, measure this out, you know, probably 1¼ times the length of your Flashabou now. And I'm going to put 2 on each side. These are a little sparse. Just the package that I got. Some of them you get, they'll be closer to a Schlappenn look. Other ones you get and they are almost look like they could be used on dry flies. So just use what you have and adjust as necessary. You know, with this one we're going to go with 2, just to give a little bit more bulk on this. Go ahead and spread those out. They can be right next to one another. They can be, you know, straight back like deceiver tail if you want. I mean, as soon as they get in the water, they're going to do what they want to do anyhow. So, and then we're going to grab 2 more for the camera side. So get these, get them measured out. Make sure that we're going on the same length. There we go. Go ahead and peel this back, trim it. And remeasure this, make sure that we're good still. Get the thread off of the hook point. And then just go ahead and secure this down on the opposite side. So there we have it. We've got 4 saddle hackle feathers coming back. One's acting a little funky on me. I'll just straighten that out here before we take the picture. That way it looks pretty, but there we go. You get the gist of what we're after. And if you want to, just to give these deceiver tails a little bit extra security, I really don't think this is necessary, but I'm gonna just throw some zap right over top of your thread wraps where you tied those in. And then we're gonna take and create a dubbing loop for our silver ice dub. Grab your tool here, give it a 1/2 inch. Now we're not going the entire way to the front. We're going to leave probably 1/4 inch right here. You can see where I tied my thread off. We're going to leave probably 1/8 to 1/4 inch, and that's where we're going to tie in our overwings. So we're just going to go ahead and grab this ice dub real quick and get this thrown in the loop. And you can be pretty generous with this. You're not worried too much about a real slender body. Well, you don't want a slender body. You want some bulk to it, and you want a good taper. And we'll get that thrown in there. Give your tool a good spin. Just kind of readjust this as you need it. And get my cradle out here and get the body going. Make sure that you cover up those back thread wraps. Work your way right up to the front here, and I'm probably a shade on the short side. Yeah, that's a shade short. So I'm just gonna do this old school here. Get a couple more in there. And pick that out so it's kind of uniform. I don't like the noodles or whatever they call them, that style of dubbing, especially for streamers. It just seems to be really inconsistent. I don't know if it shows up much because I'm picking it out, kind of teasing it, but not really saving any time by doing that because you wind up picking it out. Just throw them in the dubbing loop. Don't do it like I do though. Make sure you got enough dubbing to get where you need to go. So next up on this, we're going to take some olive barred black MFC Marabou plumes. And I'm going to take two, one on each side. Try and get these pretty wispy, but don't go with the wispiest ones in the back. Have the wispiest ones on your front hook, you know, just for taper appearances, and you know, I mean, just staying with the traditional rule of thumb that we go with. You know, your bulkier stuff in the front, slender in the back. And we're gonna lay these over to where we're gonna go a quarter to halfway on your initial Marabou for the tail. So get that measured out, get this tied in, get a couple good secure wraps there. Go ahead and clip this off. My scissors is really starting to get dull on me here. That's going to be a good front piece. And we're going to throw a second one in here just to get a little bit more bulk to this. The first one I tied in is more toward my side. This one's going to be more on the camera side, as opposed to both of them being on the top. It just fills out the profile a little bit better that way, I've found, when I tie mine. So there we go. You can kind of pick that out and tease that how you want it. And then we're going to go with one more dubbing loop and the back hook will be complete. This is a shorter loop. Obviously we're working with a shorter section of the hook than we were with the actual body. This is just going to be kind of like the head on the back hook. So grab some more ice dub. Get this thrown in. And that looks pretty good. We're going to go with that. That looks pretty good. Now, go ahead and just finish this up right here. Being mindful you don't want to trap any of the Marabou that you tied in for your Overwing. And we got a little bit too much there. This is one where you really could, if you want to make it more compact, you could really just throw this in with your fingers and just spin it on. I don't do it mainly because I'll show you here in a second. I'll get zoomed in after that whip finishes. Making all sorts of damn noise. We can get this whip finished. And one more. There we go. So, like I was saying, you can absolutely just throw that in with a quick finger dub if you want. But I don't. I like the dubbing loop because you can see all these little individual fibers here. They kind of, let me really get zoomed in so you can see what I'm talking about. These individual fibers, they'll come back and they'll just kind of give a shine through the Overwing, through the Marabou, and it kind of just gives that overall, you know, lateral line effect or something along those, something along that idea. But I like the way that it looks there. And then we'll give you a quick look at the underside so you can see. I mean, we have pure silver on the bottom, like I was saying, for a bright day. This is a great pattern. So we'll go ahead and get zoomed out a little bit here. We'll get to work on the front hook. The front, like I said, is at 2461.2. We got a cone head and a wire pre-tied in already. The cone head, you can use that as tungsten. This one's tungsten. I fish the Mo a lot, some deeper waters. I like the real aggressive jig that I get from a tungsten head. But if you want to go with just a regular brass cone head, that's entirely up to you, depending on what rivers you fish, what waters, you know, your depths, all that, speed, everything. So I like to go with the tungsten. I tie them both ways, both with tungsten and brass, but I would say it's probably 70 to 30 percentage-wise what I tie with the tungsten. So we got our wire tied in, pre-tied. I think when he did this, he didn't use a bead. Most everything that I've seen now, they're commercial ties, so I don't know for certain if there was a bead or not. I don't know. For some reason, I just look at a fly. I feel weird when I'm tying it because I'm always concerned about my loop being perfect along with this bend here. And without a bead, for some reason, my eyes just, I always second guess it. It's like, well, is that right? Is it not? With the bead, I don't guess it. You know, I can look at it and be like, yep, that's right. So I throw a bead on this. Absolutely do not have to. Like I said, I believe the original was tied without the bead. So if you want to do it that way, I'm just not comfortable with it. I like the way the fly is built with the bead. I feel more comfortable as the tire, you know, that everything's lined up how I want it, everything's good. So we'll just get this tied in real quick. And there we go. So our back hook is connected. We're good to go. We'll get this in our little holder here. And let me see, I think I can afford to zoom in just slightly here. There we go. So next up, we're going to pretty much repeat what we did with the back. We're not going to use a full plume though. I'm just going to use this excess plume that I have right here. It's really nice and wispy. And this is just going to create the skirt, the cover for the front and back. So I want to get this in. I'm going to pull this bottom section off. There's just some junk in there that's really not usable for this application. So go ahead and pull this and you'll be able to see once we get this in. There's the fibers that we're going to be using, but I don't want the fibers to be all straight. So just like I did on the flank back creature of Kelly's, I'm just going to pull these off and I'm just going to have the wispiest part right here, and this is going to be my skirt. This is going to be my cover. But I just want this to cover up the bead, and that's about it. Maybe to the eye of the back hook, not any further. I don't want to cover up all of that silver that I have in there. So you'll be able to see once I move my hands out of the way how far back I have this going. And I'm not covering up all of my silver. Some of it's covered, I mean, but not all of it. I want that silver to be visible. And the same thing on the opposite side. I'm going to go ahead and grab, oh, I don't know what we got here, probably. I don't even know what the heck to compare that to thickness wise, so I'm not going to. You can see it, that's good enough, I guess. I don't even know what I'd compare that to. Ooh, got around the hook point a little bit there. Come on. There we go. So we'll go ahead and get that tied in. There's the skirt. It just gives a little, you know, it offsets the color, it just breaks up the colors a little bit. It kind of gives the fly a pretty neat look. So we're gonna go ahead and take this all the way up, almost to the cone, just to give a little bit of a taper, a little bit of bulk. And you can see that taper starting to form there naturally from tying in those materials. Now we're going to take the silver Flashabou that we used for the tail section, and I'm going to bring this 1/4 of the way up the overwing that I have tied in the back. Double this over and bring this right here. There we go. Gives a little bit more flash. And we're going to go back to our saddle. And which ones do I like best? I guess I'll go with these two. This one's a little chewed up, but I don't think I'm going to be using that section. So with this saddle, I take this back just slightly past the overwing. I'm not 100% certain on the actual measurements for this. This is just how I've tied them. You know, I've kind of messed around with this pattern a little bit and tried to figure out, you know, how I like it, how the looks of it, you know, how I like it to look. And this is just about the measurement that I've come up with. And it seems when you do it this way, when you take it just past your overwing, it starts to transition in with your back section right here. So that's just what I tend to do. That's the measurement that I use. If you like it a different way, then by all means. I don't think that there is a functional reason for this. I could be wrong, but I don't believe that there's a functional reason for the saddles to be a certain distance. If anybody knows, leave it in the comments and let me know, because I'm kind of curious. I've just gone off the eyeball test, so this is what I've decided on. So once again, get that measured out, same distance as your last, or as the saddles on my side, and we'll go ahead and get that in there. And like I said, I mean, this is just another cover, more lateral lines, also more motion to the fly. These look pretty good. I'm going to touch this with some Zap again. This does wind up being a pretty long pattern. It's because I have it tied. Excuse me, I have it tied on these this size of hooks. If you tie this on the 2 and the 4 and you look at it and it's like, man, it's just a little bit too long for where I fish, or for the fish in that river system that you're after. Scale them down a little bit, you know, go with the 4 and a 6 or whatever it may be. I mean, just tailor it to your waters. I do tie this in a couple different sizes, but this is the main one that I go with, this 2 and 4. So, boy, I keep saying that a lot, so catch myself during all the pauses. I'm like, I got away from the ums, I guess. That's a plus. Maybe, I don't know, I'll rewatch this. Be like, nope, sure didn't. Alright. Cover up your back section probably a quarter to a half of the way past your back overwing. And I'm not gonna cover that up. Same thing, you want to get a little bit wispier with this one than you were on the back. Just get a little bit more bulk. Measure this out. Go ahead and get this tied in. And then this one I'll take all the way up to the front. Kind of double this over, just get everything tied in how we want it, looking good. Back to our dubbing loop. And I'm going to try not to short this one. Figure out where I want that, right about there, I guess. Where's the tool at? Get that half hitched. And then we're back to our ice dub. There's a couple materials not sitting how I want them, but I'll adjust that after I get done tying. So grab a generous amount of this, not like I did last time, and hopefully I don't run it short. Here's your silver, give it a quick spin. And there we go. There's your body for your front hook. Get this thread tied off, everything's looking good. And we're going to find the wispiest two plumes that we can here. That's pretty sparse. I just want something with more bulk for the very front. This one's pretty good. It looks like at the very tips of them it's kind of on the sparse side, but I think it's going to work. So about halfway back, your last set that you tied in is your measurement for this. Once again, the first one tied on my side, and the next one will be tied on the camera side. A little wispier. This isn't exactly how I would like it, but it's going to be close. I'd like it to be a little bulkier. I really would, but these are the two wispiest that I had, so this is what we're going to go with. And if you want to, I mean, if you find that they're just there's not enough bulk there, if it just doesn't look right to you, it's like, man, I wish there was a little bit more. You can go ahead and take a third one and lay it right over the top. We'll just go ahead and do that. I'd like for this to have a little bit more bulk, so I'm going to take a third one and go right in between the two that I had tied in already, and I'm just going to get a little bit more bulk to this because the fibers weren't as wispy as I would like them to be. They weren't as webby. So there we go. We got a little bit extra on that. Things are looking good. Now, yeah, that looks better. So what we're gonna do now is I took two Schlappenn feathers already. One's an olive and black grizzly, and the other one is just pure black. And I have these measured out. You can see they're pretty close to the same size, same length and everything. Minus the tips. I mean, the tips are different sizes, but you're not really worried about that. You're going to be only getting about 3 to 4 wraps in with these total. So the tips won't even be used. I'll get these pretty close. Get the olive tied in first. And I really don't think it makes a huge difference which one you tie in first. It's just, I don't know, that's how I've always done it. And it gets the look that I'm after. Then tie your black in next. Go ahead, half hitch. If you want to, you can tie these both in at the same time. I don't really like to. I like to do the black first and then the olive over top of it. I just feel like I have a little bit more control over the feathers that way. And I get the look that I'm after. So, here we go again. There we go. Get about 4 or 5 good wraps out of this. Tie this off. And I'm not going to worry about picking all these fibers out just yet. I'm not going to, because you're going to wind up trapping some anyhow. You're going to wind up trapping them with your olive. So get that to spin how I want it. And just run the olive right through here, probably 3 to 4 wraps. I think I'm going to let it be with 3 of them. Bring that up a little bit. And the olives don't really match up too well from the Schlappenn to the Marabou, but that's alright. You can always dull it down just a little bit more with some black wraps. I'm not really too concerned about it. I mean, by the time this thing gets in the water, everything's gonna marry together and you won't even be able to notice it. But I do like, you know, for just for aesthetic reasons, to have them as close as possible. This was the closest match that I have at the bench right now. And then we'll just go ahead, don't get too carried away with this, but I do want to peel these back a little bit so it kind of, that collar just kind of folds everything over. And the very last thing that we're going to do is I'm going to take real quick and just get a really tight rope on this. And I want to get these wraps down in between. You'll see that, I mean, the majority of this is disappearing. I want these wraps to be stuck into the cone head. So I mean, you can see, I mean, I'm pushing on this, there's barely any movement on that whatsoever. So get those first couple of wraps sucked down into the cone head, and then we'll get our final dubbing loop and we'll be done with this fly. Once again, you could continue to go with the traditional style of dubbing, you know, just with your fingers. But once again, I want this silver to come back into the materials. and it just gives me that little lateral effect, gives me a little bit more flash, fancies the fly up, and you catch more fish this way too. I mean, it's just a proven fact. It doesn't mean a damn bit of difference, as always. But I like the way that it looks, so this is the way that I tie it. There we go. And whip finish. Getting those first couple of wraps in there to get all that dubbing back behind the Conehead are important, because if you don't, these wraps will wind up sinking down into it and you lose a little bit of the flash in the head of this. So it's an important step to do, just to make sure you get all that stuff back in there. Get all of these materials how I want them, get them sitting right. Oh, come on now. That's looking pretty good. Get all of these untrapped. And then I just like peeling this stuff back. Can run the bodkin through this just to loosen up some of these fibers, let them be a little bit longer, let them flow into the material. And there we go. There is the finished product. We'll give this a quick 360 so you can see everything. I mean, just look at all that flash that you can see on these bright days. It's even dark days, you know. I mean, you're still hitting the darker colors, the olive and the blacks and everything. And then you still have the silver. Really, I mean, there's not a bad day to fish this. I just kind of gravitate toward it on the sunnier days. Seems to be one of the go-tos, along with the barely and the necklace. But there you have it. That's Dan Delekta's double screamer. I'm sure there's a few things that I have off on this. Like I said, I was looking at a lot of the commercial ones, and just a couple of pictures and everything. But after tying a couple dozen of these, these are the measurements. These are the lengths that I like everything to be. But if you guys see something that you're like, hey, that's not actually how it was done, leave them with me in the comments. I'm always up to learn more. I'm always up to know how it was done originally, but I couldn't really find any great information on this one. All I had to really go off was the commercials. So, as always, thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you on next week's fly.